Good afternoon. We're at the Lynn property. We're going to be completing a repairability test. We'll be completing it on this front slope, which is northeast. We have this damaged shingle here, which I've identified with an X. We'll do our repairability test on that shingle and see how it affects all of those surrounding shingles. I've marked up all of those surrounding shingles as well. I'll give you an overview of all of those before we get started, all of which could potentially be damaged during the repairability test, and I'll show you the results afterwards. I'll be using a putty knife, roof snake, hammer, and flat bar. We'll get started with the putty knife. We'll use that to unseal the top shingle. Then we'll use the flat bar to unseal the rest of them. See how those two different tools affect the shingles differently. We'll start removing these nails now. Alright, that should be all the nails. Slide that old shingle out. Now we'll slide this new shingle in and get it all lined up nicely. Alright, we'll start getting some nails back in there now. We'll be using the roof snake for that. Alright, we're all complete with the repairability test. I'll give you an overview here. I'll clear off some of this chalk so we can see all the damages a little easier. Alright, I'll give you an overview of all those surrounding shingles. And then I'll give you a close-up of these tabs here. Looks like we can see some stress fractures along the top of those tabs. You can see that along there, where the fiberglass matting on the shingle broke just from being lifted in order to remove those nails and place those back in. And with that broken matting, that's damaging the integrity of that shingle, and then it's also affecting its water shedding capabilities, as the matting is the main component for that. See that all across there, stress fracture. That's real bad in the corner there. Let's see. You can feel the shingles are very weak towards the top. Going to be more susceptible to damages now because of that. You can see that stress fracture all across there. You can see the difference here. I'll just give you a side-by-side with this tab, this one that we had to lift in order to remove those nails, compared to these unaffected shingles over here, still sealed down. We did not have to manipulate those shingles at all in order to complete that repairability test, and we can see a difference in the condition of those shingles. You can see here with the stress fracture on this tab, and then compared to those other shingles, you can see a huge difference where these do not have any damages on the top, no granules falling off or anything like that. You can see the huge difference compared to this one that does have that stress fracture. And then we'll take a look at any mat transfer. You can see some mat transfer along this one here. You can see all those small pieces that came from the bottom of that tab there, and we can see some exposed fiberglass showing through that matting as well, from where one of those chunks came off. Some more mat transfer along this one. A little bit right there. Then we'll check that damaged shingle, see if that has any mat transfer along there. Yeah, we can see some pieces of mat transfer along this one as well. Then we should be able to see some mat transfer on the bottom of these tabs, which would have been over that damaged shingle. You can see mat transfer along there as well. That mat transfer is also damaging the integrity of the shingles, as you're taking pieces off the shingle, as we can see there. So damaging the integrity of the shingle, and it's also going to make it more difficult for those shingles to reseal properly. So with all of those stress fractures and mat transfer caused from the repairability test, I do not believe that this roof is repairable. We can see the results from this repairability test that the homeowner here is going to be left with stress fractures all over the shingles above the repair. You can see they're going to be in worse condition than they previously were. And we can see this shingle number 5, 8, and 6 were all damaged, so the homeowner is going to be left with an additional 3 damaged shingles just from repairing that one wind damage shingle, and those are going to be potential leak hazards with those stress fractures and mat transfer. And we can see the wind damage on this roof is very widespread. You can see these over here, got all those down there, those on the other slope. It's all over this roof, so I do not believe repairs are feasible, as we can see the results from the repairs, left with potential leak hazard. So if repairs were to be made, this homeowner would be left with potential leak hazards all over their roof, and I do not believe that that would be indemnification. So I do not believe that the roof is repairable. I'll go and chalk up all those damages and get some better pictures of those. Oh, and one more thing, just want to point out as well, we had mat transfer along both of those rows. I pointed out at the beginning of the video, we used the putty knife to unseal the top shingle there, and then the flat bar to unseal the rest of them. And we could see mat transfer underneath both of those rows. So it is going to be impossible to get around that mat transfer. So I'll go ahead and chalk up all those damages and get some better pictures of those. Thank you for your time.